So, before we get into the podcast, I'm just going to say that if you give this movie less than, like, a 9, you're no longer my boyfriend.
Hold on. That's holding my rating for hostage and ransom.
As it should be. This movie is one of the best romantic comedies from the 90s, probably of all time. I'm pretty sure it was on the list of, like, best romantic comedies. It was, like, number 8 or something like that. So, it's widely recognized. Just putting that out there just to make sure that you don't make an error of judgment during this podcast.
So, I have to hold strong and give it something lower than a 9 just out of principle, is what you're saying.
If you want somewhere to sleep tonight, I strongly recommend against it. So, okay, movie this week is 10 Things I Hate About You. We had to shuffle things around because we found gobies, which are paintballs, and we need to obviously do that for the YouTube channel because we have to. It's just...
Well, I mean, I'll take any opportunity to throw paint at you. I mean...
I'll take any opportunity to throw anything at you. Paint just happens to be something that I'm allowed to do without, like, getting arrested or something.
Yeah, and you are often fond of pointing out that you could throw whatever you want at me regardless, and you still won't get arrested.
The perks of being a female. So, anyway, so we chose to do this movie. It is one of my all-time favorite movies, but since we had done When Harry Met Sally not too long ago, I wanted to wait, but gobies can't wait. They just can't. So, here we are doing 10 Things I Hate About You. So, I'm Shay.
I'm Tyler.
And this is Cinematically Correct. So, to start the movie, they start with 2 cars side by side, one singing Bare Naked Ladies and one singing the I Don't Give a Damn About My Bad Reputation song.
Right. Classic 90s.
Right. So, I don't know about you, but I did not fit into one or the other trope. Like, I knew all of the Bare Naked Ladies songs, not all the words, because, like, I mean, did anybody? But, and then I also listened to, like, angry chick music, and I still do, on both fronts, so...
I think that's fair. This movie has a lot of that very rigid, you are this, or you are this, when people don't work that way. There's no merging.
People do work that
way.
I knew people that definitely worked that way.
But at the same time, it's human nature to want to try new things and not be one specific thing and to branch out and...
I'm sorry, who am I talking to? Let me back up here. Branch out and try new things.
Yes.
Are you choking on the words as you say them?
No.
You are the person, the epitome of the stagnant person. The person who wants to be what they are and not be anything beyond that. And God help anyone who tries to change that. I don't eat vegetables. I'm not eating that. I'm going to throw it in the trash.
To be perfectly fair.
I don't like going places. I just like to be at home and play video games. Like, I just don't like to do things.
Well, it's more about not fitting into one assigned role.
You do. Boring finance man. One assigned role.
No. Like,
yeah.
In high school, I was the quiet kid that sat in the back and didn't talk to anyone.
So boring quiet kid bloomed into boring finance man. Wow.
But I also played sports.
And?
Well, that's...
You did not fit the jock stereotype. If you think you did,
I'm saying I didn't fit the jock stereotype, but I was still technically a jock.
No, that's not how that works.
I was an athlete in high school.
Just because you're an athlete doesn't make you a jock. There's a stark difference.
But okay, what's the difference then?
A jock is the typical douchebag, like...
Yes, you're right. I'm not a douchebag.
Well, not that kind of douchebag, but exudes confidence, is generally... looks a certain way, like the chiseled, like, six-pack abs, like that whole thing, and has, like, a pack around them at all times, and generally IQ is pretty low, but not always, but in most tropes. So... you didn't fit that. You didn't have a pack of people. You didn't bully people. You didn't have the body type. You didn't have the exuding confidence type situation. Football wasn't your life. It was something you enjoyed doing, but it wasn't what defined you.
That's fair. I mean, to be perfectly honest, the reason I like football is just hitting people in the face. So
you're a guy, is what you're saying.
I suppose that's fair.
Okay. So, yeah. But... I don't think I fit into any of those boxes, then or now. So I don't know what happened to me. I think I was broken. I'm not sure. Defective at a package. I don't know.
Your words, not mine.
But I mean, I think I related to this movie because I related to Kat a lot.
Yes, and we talked about this, and you said that there was one clear choice of who I could see myself with from this movie.
Well, no, I asked you who you would date if this was a real life thing and you had the choice between Bianca and Kat. Who would you date?
And there is one clear answer. I mean, it's not even close.
But, so, you say that, but the movie makes it seem like dating Kat is so outrageous to the point where they actually have a scene where they're asking people, like, when they're, like, under something outside. I don't know what that was. You walk down and there was, like, a basement thing. I don't know.
It was like the basement to the gym lockers or something.
It was weird. But anyway, so they asked all these guys, like, you know, would you date Kat? And they laughed, like, and some of those guys were creepy on their own accord. So it was a very strange thing to me, because I'm like, okay, so men can be creepy and weird and scary and all of these things, and that's okay. But if a girl is, then she's outcast, she's, like,
well, right.
hands off.
I mean, that's just how that works. I don't know.
But is it, though?
No.
Because I feel like guys like edgy girls. Like, I feel like that's, like, a thing. Or is that new?
I don't know. I think it also breaks down because Kat is Julia Stiles, and, I mean, she's attractive, and she's not really all that edgy. She plays an edgy character, but you can tell. Like,
is she not, though? What other things have you seen her in? Because she's typecasted, hardcore.
So she was in the Bourne movies that I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Edgy.
Was she edgy, though? She was like
a spy or something.
She was like the straight-laced spy that sits in an office. She's like the nerdy spy in those movies.
Still a spy, but okay, cool.
Well, okay, so that's not a bad thing. That's just really cool.
Okay, she's also in Dexter. I'm pretty sure she plays a murderer in Dexter. I never got that far in the series, but I really wanted to because I love Julia Stiles.
I don't remember her in Dexter.
She's in it. I promise.
Well,
back when I was a kid, Julia Stiles was like the love of my life. Like, I wanted to see anything she was in. I was obsessed with her. But for some reason, she just didn't really make it in Hollywood. Like, I remember her in, like, I want to say there was like a
dance movie.
Well, Save the Last Dance, which I own. Which she was great in. And apparently she got that part because of the table dance scene in this movie.
Well, I'll have to take your word on that. I've never seen that movie.
Cool, adding to the list. Great.
No.
So she was in that. Then she was in a few other, like, smaller romantic comedies that never really made it. I know there was one with, like, Freddie Prinze Jr. I can't remember the name of it. And then she was in the Bourne movies. But she really wasn't in a lot, and I haven't seen her in a lot in a while. Like, in a long while.
That is fair. I don't know why that is. Is it because she was typecast? Is it because she...
Well, I mean, I read a little bit online that she was, like, box office poison. Like, everything she was in failed. And I don't know if it's that she did Shakespeare a lot. She did a few Shakespeare adaptations, so I don't know if there was, like, a stink on her from that. I don't know if it's just the 90s thing that followed her and people couldn't see her outside of 90s movies. Like, what's his name from Harry Potter? The lead in Harry Potter. What's his name again? I'm like losing it.
The lead?
Yeah, Harry Potter.
I don't know. It's
cool. But anyway, he's in a bunch of movies, but, like, I wouldn't say he's known for anything other than Harry Potter. So I feel like when you're cast into a role where you're so pivotal and everyone knows you for that role, it's hard to, like, get outside of that. So I think that happened to her with this movie. Like, everyone knows Julia Stiles for 10 Things I Hate About You. If you ask anyone, everyone knows.
That's the one movie that people know.
Right.
That's fair.
So, alright. So anyways, brief synopsis of the movie, I guess?
Brief synopsis. There's two sisters. They have a really overbearing, crazy dad that makes rule where the youngest sister, who is popular and everyone adores her, can't date until her older sister, played by Julia Stiles, who is edgy and difficult and hard to get along with, starts dating. And there's a plot hatched by Joseph Gordon-Levitt to have the douche pay someone to date the older sister so that the douche can then try to date and do inappropriate things with the younger sister.
You need to add that in there.
But
That wasn't necessary.
Well, but that's the whole thing. That the whole movie is following.
There will be no plowing.
The whole movie follows them finding Heath Ledger to date the older sister. And then...
So, what did you think of Heath Ledger in this movie? Like, his character, not him.
Well, he's fantastic. He's fantastic in everything he does.
As I said, his character, not him.
The character, it's a weird combination of danger and just roguish charm, I guess.
Well, so the charm part, I actually saw an interview of him, and he said that he based that part off of Jack Nicholson, which I thought was kind of cool.
That is interesting. And then there's definitely an element of that when he plays Joker.
Right, well, we'll get to that. But I wanted to ask about that because, so, from this movie, I would say that Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles are like two halves of a whole. Like, he's the male version of her female version.
Right.
But it's almost more extreme from her because you get more of her backstory. So you understand why she is the way she is, and you can kind of like relate to her, where with him, there's so many unanswered questions. Like, why are all these rumors going around about him? Is it just because he looks a certain way? Is it... I mean, yeah, he disappeared for a year because he was, like, helping his grandfather or something.
He pulled a butterfly knife out in biology class.
Right, but, like, what led to that reputation? Like, what... I'm sure that he started doing certain things because it was like, people think this of me anyway, so it'll be funny. But, like, how did he get there? Like, I have so many questions. He's the type of guy, though, that I would have tried to date in high school. Like, that was, like, my type.
How did he know... Well, first off, how did he get into bars and able to drink in high school? Secondly, how does he know the bartender?
At Club Skunk, that's the plot hole that will bother me forever. Now, don't pretend like you noticed that plot hole because you
No, I didn't. You totally noticed that, but I just want to know how he got into bars and started drinking in high school because...
So I Googled all around trying to figure out this plot hole because it makes me insane. And there is literally nothing out here. The only thing that I saw was a BuzzFeed article where someone happened to mention, like, why couldn't he be seen at Club Skunk? But no one mentions the fact that he knew the bartender. I think those two things together lead to, like, was there a deleted scene? Was there some subplot they meant to do and they forgot to do? Like, because how at 17, 18, however old he was... Does he know a bartender well enough that they're going to shake his hand at a bar that seems to be predominantly female, unless maybe it was like ladies' night or something? It could have been. But, like, there's a lot of things. And that was not his bar, because his bar was obviously the one where he was playing pool, would be my guess. So he now has multiple bars where a bartender knows him, and he's like 17 or 18. I don't understand. Plus, he was gone for like a year. Like, he just come back from being gone for a year. So many questions.
So, I mean, I don't have an answer. The only thing that I can think is he was some kind of employee, busboy or something at the club or waiter. But other than being an employee that just stopped working there because he had to go take care of his grandfather.
You cannot be an employee at a bar at 17 or 18.
You can't wash dishes or be a busboy?
I don't know. I mean, I know you can't serve alcohol until you're 18. I know that for sure.
Right, but
I'm not sure about the rest. I mean, I never worked in a bar. I don't know. Maybe you can, but, like, it just seems he's so young that it doesn't
work. It doesn't make sense from any standpoint. I mean, there's no explanation. And if he was a busboy or anything like that, they'd know he's 17. They know he can't drink.
Right, and they handed him alcohol.
Right.
So, I don't know. The whole thing was weird, but regardless...
So, Heath Ledger was the type of guy that you would have tried to date in high school.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in college, I had a boyfriend who, had the facial piercings and the tattoos everywhere and, like, whatever, and he came off as, like, this really scary guy, and I remember people would, like, there was, like, this, like, sitting area at my college, and everyone would flee when he got there, and, when I met him, I'm like, no, like, I'm gonna date this man, like, I'm so all about this, because I just... Like, I loved the idea of dating someone who had this edgy outside but was, like, really sweet on the inside and whatever. And that was, like, my type. That was my thing.
And then you wound up with me. Explain that.
Because I gave up on a lot of things in life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's hurtful.
30 is complacency.
See, I would have gone after Kat's sister in high school.
Of course you would have.
I just would have. That's just
Yeah.
the type of girl that I was into back in high school. But then
Vapid? Conceited?
Looking back on it, that would have driven me crazy. Like that, and I can't.
Right, because
No.
you're super, superficial, and you need the pretty girl, because you've said many times that you won't
Oh my
date
god,
anybody.
why are you adding this? No,
when they
no,
get
I'm not.
no.
I'm talking over you for this whole section of
Because
the
you don't want
podcast.
people to know.
Yes, I'm talking over you for this whole section.
Just saying.
But that's because I was in high school and dumb. And then you look at that, and that girl, there's nothing more to her than a pretty face.
Well, okay.
As the character, I'm sure she's a lovely person, the actress. But that character, there's nothing more to that character than a pretty face.
But it's a 90s movie, so in 90s movies, they have redemption of all characters that are nasty people. And while you would think that it's going to be the douche in this case that has a redemption, it's her. She's the one that has, if you want to say anyone has a redemption arc, it's her. So there is a little bit more to her than the vapid exterior, for sure, because she does have a redemption arc. And I would say it's probably one of the better redemption arcs from the 90s movies. Because it's more, it means more, because it's with her sister rather than like a love interest or like whatever. It's her sister. So it means more, I feel like.
Well, she does turn the corner. She starts to understand other people and their perspective. So Bianca does have growth in this, I think, more than any other character in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think Heath Ledger's character also has a lot of growth, but I think Heath Ledger's character is more, you get to know him more, so he grows because you get to know who he really is, where with Bianca, she grows as a person.
Right, and she's more of an ancillary side character, not the main character.
I wouldn't say she's a side character.
So let me ask you this. How would you feel if the actress who played Bianca played Kat?
So that's what they wanted. Each of them actually wanted the other role. So Julia Stiles wanted to play Bianca, and Bianca wanted to play Kat.
How would that have worked?
I mean, so I think it's hard for me with Julia Stiles because she only ever plays this type of character, which is because of this movie. So I see her as this type of character. But with Bianca, which I can't remember the actress's name, but I'm pretty sure she played Alex Mack, and she was in Third Rock from the Sun, and
Larissa Olniak.
Yeah. So she was in a few other things. So I could see her playing this type of character. Like, I could see her playing the Kat character. I don't necessarily think I would have liked it as much, just because she kind of has, like, that bubbly, like, appearance.
I can't see this movie having worked if they changed.
Really?
I don't think it would have worked. I mean, I'm sure they're both very talented actresses.
So why do you think that? Is it an appearance thing?
No, I think it has more to do with just their underlying personality.
Like the actress themselves?
The actress's underlying personalities, I don't
think that's how acting works.
I don't know how acting works, honestly. I've never acted a day in my life, so I have them so set in my mind as how they are that I don't know if I could...
So, like, when you see, like, an actor on TV who plays... Okay, like, since right now we're watching Jessica Jones, you see the character of Kilgrave. Do you think, like, that's his underlying personality?
No.
Like, I'm trying to figure out what you mean by this.
I can't explain it other than I see them as lining up more with the characters they were assigned rather than...
I don't feel that's how acting works, but okay.
Sure. I think the movie works better as they cast it, rather than if they had switched the female leads.
Okay, well, since you're talking about casting, Heath Ledger's character, they considered both Ashton Kutcher and Josh Hartnett for the role. Now, how would you have felt about those choices?
This movie would have been way worse. With
way
either
worse,
of those.
so you're insinuating that's already bad?
What? I'm not saying that. I'm saying it would have been... The movie would have been poorer for not having Heath Ledger in it, because he carried that role.
Right.
Well.
I mean, I don't see Ashton Kutcher as a bad boy in any way. Like, I get, like, in that 70s show, I guess, like, he was kind of like the clown that caused
the idiot
issues
stoner.
or whatever.
Kelso.
Right. But not a bad boy. Nothing you'd be afraid of.
No, he didn't have an edgy quality to him. He's very boy next door that's just a good-hearted, lovable goof.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Hartnett, I could see him as a douche. Like, he's pretty and he's whatever, but I don't see him as edgy.
I don't see him as the edgy guy with a heart of gold. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice person, but he doesn't have that... I don't really want to mess with him because he has a butterfly knife in biology class.
Right, yeah. Vibe. I mean, I actually can't think of another person off the top of my head anyway that would really fit that role. But I'm sure there are others out there. I would have to think harder on that, but I can't think of one right now.
So if you have any suggestions, our listeners, please just send them in to us by Twitter
for better curious, choices. But I mean, I think he was perfectly cast. He was wonderful. And then, of course, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is, like, my homeboy. Like, I love him. Like, I want to marry him one day. Like, you know.
He's perfectly cast for that. I mean...
He actually speaks fluent French in real life. Yes,
I do have that written down, actually.
Yeah, he's perfect. He's the perfect, like, innocent, like, adorable, like, guy that you relate to and feel bad for. And, like, he's perfect.
Yes. The douche is also perfectly cast.
Right, like we just saw him recently in Independence Day.
Yeah, he was also a douche in that movie, as it happens.
Right. He was very well cast.
I think he was typecast as that after this movie.
Like, I don't honestly remember him in many other movies.
I don't think I've seen him in anything where he was not someone I just wanted to punch in the face.
Well, I mean...
I don't think I've ever seen him in anything where I liked his character.
Got a very punchable face.
Right.
So, and then there was the guy from Elf was...
David Krumholtz?
Yeah,
yes.
The pretentious guy.
Well, he's in a lot of things, but yes.
Well, that's just what I think of him as. Every time I look at him, I see him as an elf, so that's that. And then Allison Janney.
Yes.
We have to at least mention her before we end the podcast because she's amazing. We just saw her recently in I, Tonya. But I love her in this role. Like, I love her. I mean, I don't know any principal that would actually be that way, but I love her.
No, not a principal that would be that way and still be a principal. They'd be sent to prison. Like, that's just...
What?
What do you mean, what? She's writing an erotic novel, and her students are overhearing her trying to come up with obscene ways to describe penises.
Well, okay, but I mean, she's not writing an erotic novel about her students.
No, but there's some level of professionalism where you don't have high school students giving you words for your erotic novel. Like, that is inappropriate.
Oh, you're so touchy.
No. And touchiness would not have helped the situation. Touchiness would have actually sent her to prison.
You're a terrible person. But anyway, I love her in this role. I think she's hilarious. I think they needed more of her in this. So, and then the only other character I really wanted to talk about before we get into, like, audience ask or any of those things is the Mandela, which is Kat's friend.
Obsessed with Shakespeare. Yes.
Yeah, so apparently that storyline was going to be a lot darker.
Okay.
And they were going to have a lot more comments about her killing herself to be with William Shakespeare.
See, I can't... That's just really delusional. Why would you want to kill yourself to be with a long dead writer?
So I'm not really sure I quite understand her character. Like, I don't really know any other characters that I can think of that, like, have this uncanny obsession for somebody who's passed to the point, like, where she's, like, having these almost delusions that she's actually dating him. And then the guy she starts dating goes along with said delusion. Like, it's a very... I don't know.
That could have gone one of two ways. Where he gives her the dress for prom, for the period style for William Shakespeare, and then he dresses up as also period dress for William Shakespeare. That's either you now have a long-term relationship because she loves that, or you're being pulled out of the gym in handcuffs. Like, oh my God, man, that's too far. Like, those are the two choices. There's no gray area there.
Well, no, but if she if she was that obsessed, you would think she would find that condescending. Like, you're not Shakespeare. I'm in love with him. Don't pretend to be something you're not. Like, right. I feel like if she was that obsessed, that's how she would feel.
Right.
So it's a very confusing character for me. I'm not even really sure why they put her in. I understand that, like, they were trying to kind of make a reference to Shakespeare and they were trying to, like, pay homage to that, but it almost seemed like they were, like, making fun of Shakespeare in that, because that's not that wasn't a positive light.
Well, there's no reason to have that in the movie, which is why they cut out the darker part of it. I mean,
it was just it was a weird character arc. I wasn't sure. I've seen her in other things, but I can't remember what I've seen her in. But weird to me.
Can I just say, before we move on to anything else, that there was a story that I read about the pretty boy douche, Joey, that I don't know if I can believe or support. The fact that he did not know how to draw.
Who's Joey?
Or whatever the guy. Who's the main villain in this movie?
Oh, okay, you're talking about the douche, but I
thought it was...
Now you said Joey, so that's the only word that stuck in my head, so...
I could have sworn that's what it is. But regardless, that guy, the pretty boy that we all want to hit in the face, he did not know how to draw a penis.
I did read that as well.
How...
I mean, just to set the record straight, what he did draw was terrible.
I mean, that is fair. He's also drawing on a face and not a piece of paper or cars, as it happens with spray paint and American Vandal. Like, it's not hard to draw. I mean, you are a guy. You have one. I just don't understand.
So would you have rather he whipped it out in the middle of the movie and used it as a reference? Like maybe
No,
traced it?
I can't for the life of me understand how it's that hard. It's just a half circle.
It could also be one of those things you just read on the internet that's not actually
That has to be the case. Like, as a guy, I can't understand not being able to draw it because I see it every day.
Right. No, I just feel like everybody knows how to draw it, but I don't know. I read that as well.
Short of like a girl that's never seen one, I just don't understand how that happens. Moving on, audience asks.
Well, I just did want to talk about so this film was filmed on location. It was never done on sets.
Okay.
So the majority of this film was filmed at Stadium High School in Tacoma.
Yes.
And that school is gorgeous. Like, I don't know. I think it's still standing. I'm assuming. I don't really know. I haven't read anything to the contrary.
I was robbed of that school as a child.
It's beautiful. Like,
yes.
I need to go see this school because it is gorgeous. But I just think it's interesting that they did everything on location rather than sets. Because nowadays, that's, like, unheard of. Everything's on sets.
And so they did it all. Where is that troll under the bridge in Washington? So I'm going to set the scene for you. So they're talking about what her sister's into, Joseph Gordon-Levitt and the sister, and they're under a bridge overpass, and there's a troll. Is that an actual thing?
Yeah, it's an actual thing in Seattle.
First off, why? Second off, why?
Well, I mean, they did everything on location, so they probably found something super cool, and they were like, okay, let's use it.
I mean, I suppose that I just don't know why someone would take the time to build a troll statue under...
They didn't build it for the movie.
No, they didn't build it for the movie. Who built it originally is my question.
I have no idea.
I just don't know why someone would take the time to build a gigantic troll statue under a random bridge in Seattle.
Oh, my assumption was that it was like one of those weird like anomalies of nature where it just looks like a troll, but it wasn't intended that way. It
looked way too man-made. It has to be someone that took the time to like carve out a statue.
Okay, well, if anyone knows anything about the troll, I think it's called, like, the Fremont Troll or something like that. Let us know what the origins are. I don't know anything about it. I just have seen the movie a million times, so I've seen it, but I don't... Yeah. I know nothing about the backstory.
So that school is gorgeous. And it's weird that they had the stadium, like the Coliseum football stadium, but no marching band.
What, the school itself, you mean, has no marching band?
Yeah, the school itself has no marching band. They had to bring in the marching band from another school to fill that stadium for that scene where he's singing the song.
Well, not every school has a marching band. They might not have a football team, or if they do, they might not have like a very active football team.
If you don't have a football team, why did you build a Coliseum football stadium?
It could be just like a place where other places go.
I don't know. That was weird to me. I mean, my school didn't have a Coliseum football stadium, but we still had a band.
Yeah, we had a band too, but I don't know. I don't live in Washington. I don't.
It's just weird. All right. Moving on. Next audience ask question.
Next audience, we didn't do an audience ask question.
Let's do the first one then.
Well, the first one that I want to talk about, which is, it's kind of like a running joke. So another podcast has done this movie a few weeks back, and I got into kind of a Twitter argument with them. This is Movies with the Misses. and they stated that the love story between Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles was completely unrealistic because they fell in love too fast, and this isn't how love works, and blah, blah, blah. Now, the I don't know if it's his wife, I'm assuming Mrs., so the wife,
yes,
in the podcast, kind of agreed with me, saying, like, you know, okay, this is high school, though, and that's what high school is about, and blah, 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 blah. But him and I kind of were at odds. So he tweeted to us, and he said, why is the love connection between Stiles and Ledger so believable? Oh, snap. So he is making fun of me so we need to talk about this. So do you find their love story in this movie believable?
Yes, they have chemistry. Yes, they get along. Yes, they get through the hard time where she finds out that he's being paid to date her, which is understandably upsetting from her point of view. And then he makes it better with a guitar. Like, that totally fits with my thoughts on high school. People break up and get back together all the time over the stupidest things in high school. Like,
okay,
that's just what high school is. It's just, you're young and you're naive and...
But you're missing his point. So he's saying that it was way too fast for it to be believable. Did you think that it was way too fast for it to be believable?
No, that's what high school is. It's all about quick starts and quick finishes.
See, I didn't find it quick at all. I mean, she resisted him at the beginning. So he asked her out. She ignored. He followed her to her car where she maimed somebody else's car, and he just kind of laughed it off and nothing. Then he finally got her to agree to go out with him, and even that was kind of a struggle, like, right, touch and go. And I feel like there was a lot of, like, building up and getting to know each other along the way because she was resisting so much.
If I'm going to agree with you on that, I would say that, if anything, that side of it was longer than I would have expected.
For a movie, I thought it was a lot longer drawn out. I mean, look at the movie that we just watched last week with Walter Mitty. Like, they didn't have anything, and then all of a sudden they're, like, dating. Like, I mean... The
final 2 minutes of that movie, they go from co-workers or former co-workers to dating.
Right. I mean, a lot of movies, it's like nothing and then boom. Like, right. I mean, how about Big Trouble in Little China? Like, they don't even, like, have anything, and then they're, like, making out. Like, it's...
They don't even have, like, conversations. They don't even acknowledge each other's existence other than in that movie. That's one of the reasons I hate that. Like, I hate that movie for a lot of reasons.
Right, but what I'm saying is, in a lot of movies, the actual relationship, there's no arc. It's literally just like, oh, I'm a boy, you're a girl, we're going to get together. Yeah. This isn't that movie. This is very, like, we're going to have to play this out and see if I can convince you. And, like, right. I thought it was way more believable than a lot of movies, especially for a 90s movie.
Well, I will give him the benefit of the doubt for when she finds out and they break up for the period of time. That part seems a little bit just thrown in right at the end of the movie and abrupt.
Okay, so I'm a female. So I get real mad real fast. And I feel like with women, especially when you're a teenager and you're hormonal and whatever, that you get really upset and you, like, make a rash decision and whatever. But if the person reacts quickly, then they can kind of diffuse the situation. If they react quickly and well, they can diffuse the situation because you're going through all these emotions in your head of, like, did I make the right decision? Like, I feel like I reacted too fast, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to look like I am, like, the weaker person because he messed up and he's in the wrong, so he needs to come to me. So, like, I'll put out something out there and see if, like, he does something. Right. So I feel like that's, like, a very female thing, so maybe, like, guys don't really get that, but...
I don't get that. That's not something that makes sense in my head, because it just seemed the whole movie was building up to them being together. One thing happens, boom, right at the end of the movie, and then, yes, back together. I mean... Because he bought her a guitar.
It's not because he bought her a guitar.
That is believable because it's high school, but at the same time it seems it seems a little bit thrown in at the end of the movie is my point.
No, the whole point of it was he acknowledged the fact that he shouldn't have taken that money, so he's taking the money that he made and he's giving it back to her. Like, I shouldn't have taken this money. I didn't earn this money, so I'm going to do something for you with it so that I can at least prove that it wasn't about the money.
Right.
It wasn't about, like, that he bought her a guitar. It was him getting rid of the money that he got and basically putting it at zero.
Right.
So, y'all people need to watch your movies and understand better. But
All right.
anyway, so now that we're over that, the other audience cast question I thought would be funny, which I'm now regretting, was from Two Girls on a Bench, and it says, "What things do you hate about each other?"
Oh, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Why are we playing this game?
Yeah. You don't have to come with 10. Please don't. That's rude.
10 things I hate about you.
Yeah, no, not 10. Not 10.
I do not particularly care for the seemingly short fuse you have sometimes on when I have done something that annoys you.
Oh, unfortunate, isn't it?
Well, this is going to go poorly for me. So that, I think it goes from we're getting along to just there's a problem that I don't even know I've walked into right away, which is fair of the majority of women because I've had that problem in the past, and I can't seem to figure it out.
So going along with that, then I will say that the thing that most irritates me about you is you're oblivious to literally everything. Where like things will happen and it will build and build and build, and I feel it building, and you just are like la di da di da di da. And then all of a sudden it'll explode and you're like shocked. And for me, it's been like a week going or more than that sometimes.
No, it's not a week going. It's that one thing.
No, but sometimes it's like in my head, I'm like, this happened and this happened and this happened and then this happened. And you're just like, but like you got mad because I bought you the wrong coffee. Like that's your thought process. And mine is like, you did this and you did this and you did this.
No, that's not it.
But that's what I'm saying. So like your oblivious nature makes me like want to kill you. So that I won't go into 10 because that's just mean. But I do want to mention, although this is like way over time because I love this movie, the one thing I did want to mention is there is an argument out there about the 10 Things I Hate About You poem.
Yeah.
And people are saying that it's not actually 10 things, and people are really arguing about that. So...
What did she list?
So, you want me to read it to you?
Let's count them.
Okay, so I'll read it to you. It says, I hate the way you talk to me.
1.
And the way you cut your hair.
2.
I hate the way you drive my car.
3.
I hate it when you stare.
4.
I hate your big dumb combat boots.
5.
And the way you read my mind.
6.
I hate you so much it makes me sick. It even makes me rhyme. I hate the way you're always right. And I hate it when you lie. I hate it when you make me laugh. Even worse when you make me cry.
Okay.
You're not counting, but okay. I hate it that you're not around and the fact that you didn't call, but mostly I hate the way I don't hate you. Not even close, not even a little bit, not even at all.
That's 11.
So there's a debate out there. People are saying 11, people are saying 13, but I think what people aren't noticing is that she's connecting a lot of things. So something she's saying, like, I hate, like, she'll say, I hate it that you're always right, and I hate it when you lie, I hate it when you make me laugh, even worse when you make me cry. I feel like those are 2, not 4. So...
Well, I think I wasn't counting the ones where there was the bridge, and I got to 11.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. There's a debate out there, so you guys can let us know what you think, how many there are. People are saying 10, some people are saying 11, some people are saying 13. It's a big debate out there. Either way, I love that poem, but that's the big debate. So is there anything else you want to say before we talk about next week's movie?
Shot in one take, by the way.
Yeah, well, because, I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah, she nailed it. Oh, well done, Julia Stiles.
Right.
Bravo. Last thing, just the Joker Batman meme, or the Joker Robin went to high school meme. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That made its rounds on Reddit?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that was awesome, and considering that they mentioned earlier in the movie that her type was Jared Leto, and he played Joker, it kind of all...
Yeah, not as well.
No, not...
Oh, God, it was criminal to make that movie after Heath Ledger's performance, considering he passed away shortly after the best Joker.
Right, but anyway, so we've done a YouTube video last week for Walter Mitty where we did Icelandic words. We terribly
Butchered
tried to say them, but so that's up on YouTube. That went up yesterday, and tomorrow there's going to be a poll about who won that, so we can the loser has to do a kickflip. It's going to be horrible, but these are the things that...
Please vote for me, even though she's the one that does the social media, for the love of God.
So don't. So we're Cinematically C on Twitter, so go vote on that poll. this week's video is going to be a recreation of the paintball scene, which we really didn't talk about in this podcast
But
at
it's
all.
awesome.
But it's amazing, and we didn't even know these things existed, so we need to try them. So that will be going up next week. What is next week's movie?
I don't even know.
It's your pick.
I know. That's the worst part of this.
Next week's movie is Final Hours, I believe.
The Final Hours? Okay. That's a movie neither of us have seen. It's a true story.
Finest Hours.
The Finest Hours. It's about the Coast Guard going to rescue people in a horrible storm. And there's a book about it that I was recommended. I have to read the book and I also want to watch the movie.
All right, so we're looking forward to that, and we'll be needing video ideas for that movie. So if you guys have any, tweet them at us or email us at cinematicallycorrect@gmail.com. I do want to say thank you to Jake at This Music for our intro and outro music, and I'm looking forward to next week.
We also have to rate the movie.
Well, I mean, I already made it pretty clear my rating is a 10.
10 out of 10?
Yeah, I mean, it's 10 things I hate about you, so 10 things I love about this movie is all things.
Well, for the sake of our relationship, I'll give it a 9. It's a fantastic movie. I mean, it would have gotten an 8-something high or...
Yeah, the gun to your head had nothing to do with it.
No, the gun to my head has nothing to do with it. Blink twice if you're being held against your will.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully it'll be another 10 movie.